Hello, today we're going to design a dragon scale gold ring in Blender 3.6. Let's start from the top view, add mesh plane, go to edit mode, M, merge at center to keep just one vertex. Go to global coordinates, 0 on X. Start extruding like this to create the dragon scale shape. 0 on X also for the last one. Select this entire row here, extrude on the x-axis, scale on x to 0, and bring it to 0 on x. Now remember that quads are very important. So take this edge, W subdivide, and close this face here. Do the same down here, W subdivide, select here, and close with F. Tweak and adjust your shape. Now, exit edit mode, go to modifiers, add modifier mirror. Do your control A, all transforms, and call this dragon scale. Save and be a dragon. Go to edit mode, select everything, extrude on the Z-axis, make it 1 millimeter. Take these center vertices and progressively deselect the endings to make a nice progressive curve. Then go to the side view, tweak the curve, and make it pretty smooth, just like this. Now add modifier bevel, 0.03, or what suits you. Then add modifier subdivision surface, 3 levels. Now we're going to add a loop cut here in the middle, and we're going to adapt so the side is not flat. Now let's get a sharper edge on the outside. Adapt the position of these vertices. Remember, the subdivision surface modifier is very sensitive to the distances between vertices. Now let's go back to work on the back. We're going to select all the inside vertices, delete these vertices. Now select the entire edge. Let's bring the cursor to selected out of edit mode. So you get the cursor here. Go back to edit mode. Select the transform pivot point to the 3D cursor here. Extrude, scale. So you can make a nice even edge. You can tweak the position here on the y-axis. Great. Now we're going to make the scale flow because we're going to have many scales and the weight is very important, especially in gold jewelry. Now on the side view, extrude on the z-axis one time, second time, go back to median point here, scale, adapt, extrude on the z-axis, scale, close with F. Now, if like me, you've lost the center axis, don't worry. Select these vertices, go to 0 on X, then select these vertices, 0 on X. We're centered again here, tweak if necessary. Great, now our amazing dragon scale is ready. Now go to materials, add new material, go to viewport display, and change the color to gold. Go to viewport shading, matte cap, go to this one, turn on cavity, type both, just to have a pretty preview. Now go to front view, center the 3D cursor, add curve, Bezier circle, size 7 millimeters, resolution 45. Take the scale, go to modifiers, add modifier array. Make it slightly shorter so the scale touch each other like this. Go to a count of 7. Now add modifier curve. The curve will be the Bezier circle here. Now we don't want the scales to make the full circle because we want half of the body of the ring. So to do that, we must scale the scales. Let's go to edit mode. Check that your 3D cursor is centered and go to 3D cursor as pivot point. Select all the vertices and scale, maybe 0.6. You need to try what works for you. out of edit mode. Now you can move on the x-axis to adjust the position of the scales. Front view, center the scales like this. Save and be a dragon. Now on the scales, add modifier array, another array. Now the factor won't be on x, it will be on the y-axis. Here put an amount of 10. For now, we're good like this. Now make a copy of this, Shift D, click, and call that Dragon Scales Secondary. Now here we're going to remove the modifiers on the secondary scales, remove this array and this array to remain with the secondary scale all alone here on the side. Move it on the y-axis and adapt the x position to close the gaps here. Adapt it also on the z-axis so the scale comes out. Now here, to make the design better, let's go to edit mode and adapt the tail of the secondary scale so it's longer from the side view. Select the ending here and extrude on the y-axis here. Then tweak the surface. So now that the secondary scale is adapted in shape and length like this, we're going to add an array before the curve. Again, here, adapt the count and adapt the x position. If you want to be very precise, do it by steps or numerically. And obviously, we need to find the correct factor. So search for it. Don't forget to check the inside to see how the scales come together. Also very important. So now, obviously, we need to adapt the counts and distances and factors to make all the scales come together. Let's add an array on the secondary scales. No factor on x, factor on y. Let's start at 1. Put a count of 10. Now let's tweak the first scales to make them come in between. Check from beginning to end. Now we have a small gap. So let's go to edit mode. Great, ready. So what I did here is I inverted the top face of the first scale. So it goes to the inside and clearly is distinctive from the secondary scale. And I adapted the length so it covers all the gaps. Don't forget to tweak the inside. By example, here, the inside is not properly following the edge. I'm going to come here to make the shape a bit more harmonious, like this. But now we want a ring. Let's complete the ring. Don't forget the ring size chart. Go to images, find the chart. We're going to make a size 7. If you don't know your finger size, please go to a jeweler, add mesh, circle, center it, 120 vertices. Now, the American finger size 7 has a diameter of 17.3 and a radius divided by 2. This is our size 7 ref size. And now we're going to add a Bezier circle, center it. The radius for now, put it here and put a resolution of 85. Save and be a dragon. Let's take the first scales. Let's go to modifiers, add modifier curve. The curve is the new Bezier circle here. You need to find the proper direction. You might get something different from what you expect, although this looks quite amazing. So we're going to keep this to create a dragon scale pendant. So this looks amazing to keep this alternate version to create another design. Great, so now here we clearly see that we need to rotate somebody from 180 degrees. It's upside down, so it's very probably the z-axis, 180 degrees, and here we are. So now the design is not properly centered. Let's try for X. You can come and check the tip until you get the design perfectly centered. Now we need to tweak the amount of scales to make the entire ring. So let's go to our array modifier and let's find the proper count. Now here we're good. We slightly need to adapt the factor. So let's proceed and find the correct factor. Now here, remember that the size 7 is here and our Bezier curve making the ring is here. Let's tweak the dimension of this curve in order to get closer to the finger size. Let's make the same process. The secondary scales, add modifier. The curve is the Bezier circle finger size. Here it is. The orientation is the same. The deform axis is the same, minus Z. We need to rotate 180 degrees on the Z axis. And we need to tweak the X location. And now the Y position. Like this, perfectly centered. We need to tweak the count. Let's go back at count 16 and let's tweak the factor. Don't forget to look all around because it can be totally wrong. Let's tweak again. Perfect. Once you've found the exact factor, you'll see that all the gaps are closed exactly, but we still need to work to create edges. So front view, add mesh. Let's go to edit mode, AM at center. Design something according to our design. Here, I'm going to follow exactly the finger size, AF. Save and be a drag. Now, let's come on the inside here. Let's extrude on the y-axis. Now we're going to inset slightly here, come out like this, inset a second time right here. Now select everything, come more on the inside, adapt the position, so then readapt the external thickness. Now here, select this face, make an extrusion, not an inset, scale it, rotate and adapt, tweak this part of the design. And now here, we're going to extrude to the inside, to the middle. Exit edit mode. With now modifiers, bevel, and subdivision surface level 3. Don't forget to apply the gold material, save, and be a dragon. Now, Control A, all transforms. Add the very necessary empty plane axis to the center. Rotation 360 degrees divided by 16. Go to the edge. Modifier array from an object offset. It's the empty element. Now count 16. So now we need a simple mirror modifier. This could be pretty cool. See, sometimes during the process, happy accidents happen. You must learn to use them. You must learn to take out the best of them, but also you must learn to keep the discipline to complete the design as intended. So the mirror is on the y-axis. Now, this design looks amazing, but it's still a bit pretty basic. What we need is an inside gallery to complete the design. So, top view, add mesh, plane, X-rays, go to edit mode, M at center. Put this vertex X and Y 0. Now, let's start extruding and let's start designing yet another scale shape. Now, extrude on the x-axis somewhere here. Now exit edit mode. Let's call this gallery. Now take the size reference here, make a copy, Shift D, enter, go to edit mode, move here, close with F, extrude somewhere here, A, Alt N, outside, exit edit mode, take the gallery, go to modifiers, shrink wrap, project, target is this cylinder width just made here. Now add a solidify modifier, go at 0.9. Let's do a mirror. Control A, all transforms. You can put the mirror before the solidify. Let's do that on X and Y for now. Don't forget to add bevel modifier, tweak the size as needed. Subdivision surface, 3 levels, auto smooth. Don't forget to apply the gold material. Now, back to global view. Let's hide this cylinder. Add an array modifier, object offset from the same empty as the scales. Right there, and let's merry-go-round. So now, this is already working for a gallery, but you can tweak the design just as you wish. I've completed the design of the gallery, and this means that this ring design is ready for render. It also means that it's ready to be exported as an STL file for 3D printing. Some of you might want to print the gallery separately and then solder it in place. That will allow you to polish the inside of the ring. Each jeweler knows the quality he wants and needs for his clients. Now, an amazing design needs an amazing render, but obviously you only have 2 minutes to do it. So go to Edit Preferences, Add-ons. Search for the Add Mesh Extra object. Turn it on. Now go to Add Mesh. You have way more meshes available. And one is the famous rock generator in Blender. So let's click here, and now here you can find the rock in the outliner and adapt it as needed. Now let's choose a camera angle. Alt Control 0, pose the camera. Now let's go back to the rock and let's go to modifiers. You're going to see that the rock has already an entire setup of modifiers. You can find 2 subdivision surface modifiers. Go to level 3, just like in the render, to see all the details of the rock. Now what I'm going to do is keep adding rocks to complete the view. Do the same process here, 3 levels. Great. Now HDR, lights and shading. First go to World Properties, Color, Environment, Texture, Open. Today I will use a Canary Wharf 4K HDR. Now let's go to Render Mode. Now let's go add empty plane axis. Put it here on the front of the ring. Call this DOF, depth of field. Go to camera settings, turn on the depth of field, focus to the DOF and find the f-stop that works best. So let's go to shading. Let's start with the rocks. So here, add ambient occlusion, the color to base color, bring the color close to black. Distance 25. Now select the other rocks here, then object, link, materials. Let's go metallic 0.7, roughness 0.2. Now add texture, Musgraph texture, height to normal, add vector bump here in the middle, height to height here. Now scale, texture, noise texture, plug factor to vector. Now add input texture coordinates generated to vector, add vector mapping here in the middle, tweak the scale in order to get a very nice stratified look for your rocks. Now here we need to set the gold material. So add ambient occlusion, make it gold color right here, put distance at 5. Down here, add bevel node, normal to normal, samples 16. Check the radius here. Obviously not too high, do not lose all the details. Now, obviously metallic 1, roughness 0.05. Now let's add light, point light, move it here to the back. Light settings, power 8500, use nodes, strength 320, size 3. Go to the rock material, turn on subsurface 5, and work on the color of the subsurface. Now go to the world settings, add color, brightness, and contrast. Here, tweak the contrast, add color HSV here, with saturation. Now select the point light, color. You can entirely change the mood of the scene, changing the color of this light. We can add some details with add mesh plane, very important, align to the view, scale the plane here, bring it here to the front. Now create a new material, call this air dust, add texture, image texture, plug it to base color, search for your favorite PNG dust particle image on the internet. Now plug the color to the alpha, add an invert color if necessary, add a brightness control right there, tweak. Once you're happy with the result, check your render settings, samples 320. Don't forget to use your favorite denoiser, lights, put a quite nice amount of bounces. The performance, adapt to your hardware. We're all set. Go to solid view, save, F12, and watch the magic happen. Now, this is a very basic but very efficient setup. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial a lot. Like, subscribe, become members to get 3D scenes like this one each month. Thanks, take care, and see you soon.